that in mind in the preseason. And, it's a chance for some of them to go home or go to where they've had, some playing experience. And, we think we've got a good lineup that's going to give us a chance to win tonight.
Schaefer, Phil, Hamlin, Virtanen, all getting games on back-to-back nights with Nima Line. Just a thought on that.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last night after the game. I just think training camp, you want to see people in different types of situations and how people handle things like going back to back, their ability to do that. I think it gives you some insight into them as a person, as a player. It's not an easy thing to do, especially in day 4, day 5 of training camp when your legs are really tight and whatnot. But I think we're going to learn something about those players being put in that situation today.
So Schaefer, it's an intimidating thing coming to an NHL camp. He's got a couple of games in. What have you seen from him, and what does he need to kind of address in the year?
Oh, I think he's left a good impression. Yeah. I think he's a big man that, I'm impressed with some of the details in his game. I saw him track back hard a few times with good stick. While he's a big man, he's a young man, so he's got to figure out how to use that big body. I think he learned in a few situations there's a difference between junior strength and professional man strength in the National Hockey League. These are all great learning experiences for a young player like him. I think he showed well in Penticton, and he's carried it on here into main camp.
Jay, Broberg, and Barry could be a possible combination on the back end for you come opening night. What kind of skill sets do they have that complement each other?
Well, Tice, I don't think gets enough credit for his defending skills, but he is someone who leads by talking to people. He's not afraid. He has juice. He comes to the rink. He's in the building when he gets there because he talks. I think that's good for a younger defenseman. I think you see in a lot of the pairs that we've had at the start of training camp, it's been one veteran and one younger player. I think as a starting point for those two, Philip, is a good all-round defenseman. He's got some length to him. He's got some size that he put on over the summertime. But we just think they complement each other. We're going to get to see him in a game tonight, so we're excited about it.
Jay, the Barry Kulak pairing was a pretty good one for you down the stretch. Do you foresee maybe giving them another look later in camp, just after you kind of let that settle?
Well, I think, the thing about training camp is it allows you time to experiment. We know that, right? We felt that last year. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a great pair again if we go to it. But we have some experience with that group as a D pairing, and I think training camp, especially early in training camp, you want to give people chances, see them in new positions. I thought the Kulak-Bouchard pairing last night was really good for us.
You were in Detroit when Cronwall was there.
Yep.
You were in San Jose when Doug Murray was there. Now you got this Nima Line and kid. Bring some of that stuff to the table. How much value do you put on having one guy in your back end that makes everybody nervous?
Well, I think those are two good comparisons too. All three of them have different body types, though. It's interesting. Cronwall is not a big man. He's actually very slight, but he had an impeccable sense of timing. Doug Murray was a huge man. He was probably 240 pounds, rock solid, though. And if you ran into him, you felt it. I think with Nima Linen, what separates him is he's 6'6". He skates like the wind. He's able to close quickly. And he has a gift for that timing. I think when you have that type of element on your back end, it's a dimension that other teams have to game plan for. It's a little bit of snarl, a little bit of bite, but it's honest too. When he hits, he's not hitting people in vulnerable positions. He's hitting them in legal positions, and when he does, he goes through people. He plays the game hard.
Going back to Broberg, he obviously put on 12 pounds, as you mentioned. Yep. What have you noticed from his game that's a little different now that he has that added size?
Well, I think what Philip should feel real good about his year last year. He spent, I saw him in the American League. I saw him grow before my eyes every day. And then when I saw him in the National Hockey League, I saw progress. So I think for him at this level, it's feeling comfortable, understanding what a good shift looks like, understanding you don't have to break the game open every shift. And for me, he's someone that, every day he's gaining more experience, it allows him to be more comfortable. He's going to be a good hockey player for the Edmonton Oilers organization over a long period of time.
There's certain, experiments you want to try in training camp, and then I'm sure there's others you just want to see and get the guys right together. Nurse and Cece, you and Dave played them a lot down the stretch together against a lot of tough minutes. Are you expecting a similar start to the season with those two in a similar role?
Yes. Yeah, I am comfortable with that. I think both of those players relish that. And, they're not in the game tonight, but you should expect to see them soon in a preseason game.
So is Broberg penciled in on this team, or does he still have to win a job?
Well, I think, Ken's done a really good job of setting the standard of earning the jersey here in Edmonton. I think there's some good battles playing themselves out here in training camp, and I think our back end is no different than what's going on up front, which is there's some healthy competition going on, and Philip, as I said, he's going to be a good player for our organization over a long period of time, but it's it's incumbent upon him to have a good game tonight and then build on that going forward.
Got a good game going here. Thank you.
Good.